There's a way you'll be traumatized that coming out of the trauma will be very difficult because that's all you know. The pains, the hurt, the abuse, the being trampled on, and all of that. That's how you grew. That's how your mind had been conditioned to believe that things operate. And so when help comes, sometimes it becomes difficult for you to recognize the help and detach from the trauma because you are bonded with the trauma. And this happens a lot. That's why sometimes you see some people, they seek their abusers instead of seeking their helpers. You see somebody in a relationship and they are being abused. It can happen to any sex. They are being abused constantly, verbally, morally, mentally, physically, even. And you're trying to help them get out of this abusive relationship. And then they think you are the bad person. I know some people had gotten offended with this kind of behavior. They're like, I'm trying to help, and they think I'm the bad person. Don't get offended. Many times it's not the fault of the person you're trying to help. It's because they are bonded with their trauma. And the only life they know is the one that makes them to feel abused. So they have lost every sense of what. And they think that the only way they have been appreciated is by sticking to the abuser. And so they will stand the moral abuse, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse as contrary to what is expected by people that they will come out of it. It happens. And you don't blame them. They need a lot of help. So why am I here today? I want to say, if you have ever come across that kind of persons, don't be offended in them. And don't give up on them. They have been wired to think that the abusers are doing them more favor than you who is trying to offer them help. And so do your best. If there are people very close to you, like in your family, siblings, friends, or encourage them to see a professional that could help their psychology. Because it's really difficult. It's like somebody has been tied to a chain for long. And then suddenly you release the chains. The person has been chained for 10, 20, 30 years. When you release the chain, it doesn't really make any difference in there. Because they're already used to being in that position of bondage. And so they're not sure. They don't know what freedom looks like. They are trauma bonded. They are bonded with their hurts, with their pains, and with their abuses. So much so that they don't recognize what freedom looks like. So they need to be taught what freedom looks like. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be step by step. They need to see a therapist, a counselor, somebody that cares about it, somebody that will be patient with them, somebody that will understand their fears, their arts, the things they feel, that can relate, that can listen to them, that can validate their feelings. So you don't just invalidate the person's feeling and say, why are you this behaving silly? Why don't you want to be free from your oppressor? Why don't you want to get away from that abusive relationship? Why don't you want to leave that abusive office and environment and all of that? Instead of shouting on them, be calm and try to be patient and understanding. When people have trauma bonded, they need a lot of psychological help. And there are a lot of people like that in our society. I remember the story of a friend when I was a teenager in the higher institution. She was my neighbor staying opposite my room. And every night, the boyfriend would beat her up so badly. We would knock at the door, myself as well as other neighbors. And then they would not open. The next morning, trust me, she will open and she will say, my boyfriend loves me so much, because he would take her out and buy her lovely gift. And that was it. She continued till we graduated. And nothing we ever said, meant anything to her. She's been used to the abuse from home, that she thought being abused is a way of life. And it's a way to show love to people after beating them up, after messing them up mentally or verbally. Buy them gift. Don't blame them. Don't be hard on them. I know it's not easy. I'm here to say be patient with them. If you can, if they are very close to you, get them professionals that can help them. It's not an easy thing to add trauma bonded. It's not easy to get away from. Be patient with them. Thanks for watching.